I'm happy to report that January is finally over. I always feel like January is the longest month of the year. I think just coming out of holiday festivities and taking time off, back into the grind of a new year and like the weather, it just always brings me the January blues. So here are the things that got me through the January blues. I have reviewed a lot of makeup this month, and there is a lot of makeup in this video, but I thought I would start with skincare and some other random bits before we get into the makeup. I am wearing a full face of my makeup favorites. I have cutaway footage of applying everything, so you'll see that in the video throughout. And of course, timestamps are below and links to everything. A little like personal update and just things that got me through this month is that last month I was nominated by the official National Social Media Awards for Best Beauty Influencer. And they hold these awards in like different cities. So I was nominated and it was really exciting. I did share that news, I think on my community tab. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend the awards show, but I found out that I won, which didn't even honestly cross my mind as a possibility because it was a voting-based system and I was in a category with fellow nominees who have a much bigger audience than me. So I was just excited to be nominated. I've never been, nominated for anything in the work that I do in social media and content creation and all of that. So I was just happy to be there and like among my peers, but I found out that I won. And it's a huge honor. So I guess I just want to say thank you if you voted for me. It's a huge honor and I can't believe anyone even watches my content still, even though I've been doing this for a while. The idea that people spend their precious time with me is truly like a privilege. So I'm really grateful for that. And that was exciting news. And I think they're sending me my little award in the mail, so I'll show you that when it comes. The other highlight for me of the month, I guess, has been launching my Substack. So this is something that I've wanted to do for a long time. I've been kind of marinating ideas and what kind of space I want it to be. I did talk about it a bit on my community page and I linked to it there. But, I basically wanted a space where I can share more writing. My background before YouTube and before doing any beauty stuff has been in academia and in cultural studies. And so writing has been my primary medium. I've always enjoyed writing creatively as well as critically. So I wanted a space where I could talk about culture as it pertains to beauty, but not bound by that necessarily, and just to share some more personal pieces, some think pieces, that sort of thing, the whole Substack world. And to be honest, I'm kind of new to the Substack world myself. I followed a couple of people, but I really do like the format over there. It's kind of like all of the pieces that I like from the old Twitter and from the old Tumblr. And, I grew up on Xanga, LiveJournal, MySpace, that pipeline. I'm solidly in it like a good millennial. But yeah, I like the idea of being able to share some longer form stuff, and you guys have given me really, really kind and generous feedback there. And also the thing I like about it that I'm learning is that it feels communal in a different way. Obviously people do paid subscriptions. I'm not really there yet. I'm just kind of feeling out what the space is for me. So everything is free. But I also like that there's a chat function there for your community, which I haven't launched yet, but I think I'm going to. So this is all to say dipping my toe into a new path and a new creative venture that is tied to what I do here on YouTube, but also kind of gets a little bit more in depth and into the writing itself is exciting. So if you haven't checked it out yet, obviously I would love for you to, no pressure for you to at all. I know it's not for everyone, but it's just another place where you can find me and where we can connect. Let's get into skincare. I had a very, very exciting delivery, I think at the end of December or early January. And I got to test these before they launched. These are the new cleansers by Saatchi Skin. If you're not familiar with Saatchi Skin, if you haven't heard me talk about them, they were founded by my friend Farah, who is a content creator and just a skincare enthusiast. It's a beautiful Ayurvedic based brand, so they take a lot of Ayurvedic ingredients. Everything feels incredibly luxurious, and they've done a slow rollout of products. And what I appreciate about that is that I know that a ton of testing has gone into curating each individual item. So this is a cleansing duo. There's a cream cleanser and their luminous cleanser, which is a gel cleanser. The Saffron Luminous Cleanser has turmeric, saffron, pomegranate extract, glycerin, oat oil, and colloidal oatmeal. This stuff smells so, they actually both smell so good. I don't know if it's just the saffron, but there's like a freshness to it. It also comes out as this like bright green gel, you can see right there. And I love this because it's a richer gel formula. So it's not runny. It actually is a little bit stiffer than a lot of other gel cleansers, and it gives you time to really work it into the skin as that texture sort of melts down. It's super hydrating, and it's a great morning cleanse for me, or it's a great second cleanse as well. Their other cleanser is their Saponins Cream Cleanser, and this has blue butterfly pea, quinoa, panthenol, kokum butter, apricot, and oat oil. I think this may also have a cucumber extract in it because it smells like cucumber to me. I don't know if that's just me. It's actually slightly reminiscent of the Fresh Soy Face Cleanser that has a cucumber extract in it. These don't have synthetic fragrance. They're just fragrance from the botanical ingredients in here. The cream cleanser is so lovely. Let me show you the texture. It comes out as this blue cream. How beautiful is that? It's so lovely. It's creamy, but it's not too thick of a cream. For me, this is a great cleanser for if I'm just wearing SPF or maybe just light like tinted makeup, or it's a great morning cleanse for me when my skin feels kind of dry, or if my skin is sensitized and I need something a little bit milkier and more cushiony. That's when I reach for the cream cleanser. It's a lovely cleansing experience. So I know that Farah designed these as like a cleansing duo. This could break down makeup. I wouldn't necessarily reach for this when I'm wearing a full face of makeup personally. That's why I just mentioned like SPF or light makeup. But you can use these together where you go in with the cream and then you go in with the luminous gel cleanser, or you can use them separately as well. Saatchi is one of my favorite brands, and so far everything they've put out is such a beautiful experience. It's not only efficacious, it's also just like a beautiful product. I've been really into wash off masks lately, which is so not like me. I usually don't have time or put in time to incorporate wash off masks like into my life. But I don't know, I think I've realized like I really like the process. I work remotely, I work from home. So I do have the luxury of being able to apply a wash off mask and like working at my computer and then like washing it off later in the day or whenever the time is. So earlier this month, I actually picked up the Clarins Intensive Facial Lift Wrap Mask. This is a viral product. I've heard about it for years for depuffing and tightening the skin. And I've wanted to try it forever. It is a pricier item. I want to say it's like 70-ish, but I was able to get it for 50% off during one of Ulta's promotions. So I did grab it at 50% off, and I really like it. I really struggle with puffiness, especially around the eyes. For me, I've mentioned this before, my sins reveal themselves through puffiness, not through necessarily like discoloration or fine lines or hollowness around the eyes, but through puffiness, especially when I'm like eating sodium, not eating great, whatever, not sleeping well. I have tried this around the whole face and I liked it, but I think for the results that I'm going for with this, I like a more concentrated application around the eyes. And because it's a higher end product, I think it just allows me to use it where it's most effective, which is just around the eyes. So yeah, I know some people really, really love this and see a huge difference with their jawline. I'm 33, so I am thinking about anti-aging, but I don't have a lot of like loose skin or jowls necessarily where I'm like, I need to see a visible difference. tolerance. I'm sure I'll get there someday and I'll report back then. But yeah, I think for me, around the eyes is like where I see the most visible effects of this. So in tandem with this, I've been multi-masking, and I have another expensive product. I'm sorry. This is the 111 Skin Oxygen Express mask. This is one of those products where I'm like, I don't really understand how it works. I just know that it makes my skin look really good. They claim that it's a re-energizing mask to refresh, tighten, and tone the skin. It targets large pores, suitable for combo, dry, oily, or sensitive skin. So I will say it is a really cooling mask because it's a gel texture. So it's just a squeezy tube and it's just a clear gel. It's not even like a thick gel necessarily. Very easy to spread, and because it is a gel, it feels nice and refreshing going on. I should actually keep this in the fridge maybe, but I'm kind of too lazy for that, honestly. I just apply a really thin layer. I use the Clarins around my eyes, and I use a really thin layer of the 111 Skin around the rest of my face. And I don't know what it is, but I do feel like it evens out my skin tone. I do feel like my skin just looks glowier. And it's one of those things where I'm like, it's not an exfoliating mask. It is hydrating, but my skin just looks better after I use it. And I don't know if it's a placebo thing, but I'm really, really liking it. And I am really also rationing it because it is a luxury product. I did have a complimentary 111 Skin facial at the Fairmont Century City in like November, and it was truly a religious experience. It was such a beautiful facial. That spa's amazing, by the way. And I don't think they used this mask on me during that facial. That was like a black diamond something facial, but it did get me curious to try more 111 Skin. So this has been really lovely. If any of my discount codes, I do have discount codes for Skin Store and Derm Store. I'll link those below. If any of those work on these, I'll let you know. And I'll link them below. Coming back down to planet Earth, where price points are not in the triple digits, I was sent the Rephr Essence last year at some point, and it's been sitting in my drawers. I had a bunch of things open and I didn't feel justified in opening it quite yet. And then Sean needed an essence, and I actually opened this up, and I really like it. Rephr is a brush company, but this was their first foray into skincare, and it's a really, really lovely texture. Part of why I'm wondering if I like it so much is because of the pump. Like, it's an aluminum tin bottle, and then the pump comes separately, and then I think you can buy refills. The pump itself is really nice. It's a metal pump. Hang on. That's precarious. So it's a metal pump. It's very sturdy. And then this is a very milky essence. It's fluid, but you can see the milkiness in the formula. And this contains glycerin, niacinamide, meadowfoam seed oil, panthenol, betaine, and allantoin. All ingredients that are really soothing, calming for the skin, great for bringing down redness. Niacinamide can help refine the appearance of pores, and glycerin is just really hydrating. And there are no fragrances in here, and it's just a really lovely hydrating essence. So I thought I would mention that. It's also a great size. This is 8.5 fluid ounces and 250 milliliters. And even though this has been next to Sean's sink, we have separate sinks, I find myself like reaching over there and just grabbing a pump because I like it so much. I have a new hairbrush I'm really liking. So this is by this smaller company, Dom Dom. It's founded by a hairstylist, and this is their wet brush, I think they call it, or it's their version of a wet brush. And it has the same like flexibility of the actual wet brush, like the name brand wet brush, but the actual, what do you call these? The spokes? The bristles, that's the word, the bristles. Why did I say spokes? The bristles themselves are actually made of metal, and so it gives you such a nice scalp massage while you're brushing, and I found myself spending some extra time like brushing through my scalp because it feels so good. It's not like too spiky, it doesn't hurt. It's just a really nice, I want to do it right now, but I'm gonna mess up my ponytail. It's just a really nice feeling. And it is good at detangling the way that the wet brush is. At the end of last month, my lashes were in a sorry state. I felt like I just had this like one bald patch on one of my lash lines that just wasn't growing back. And I remembered there are solutions for these things, and I picked up another NYK1 Lash Force Growth Serum. I have used this on and off for over 5 years, I think. This is great because it's a lash serum that does not contain prostaglandins, and that's the ingredient that's like in Latisse. I think it's in Grande Lash. It's in a few other lash serums. And that ingredient really, really does work. But for me, it just causes a lot of irritation and redness. And like I wake up with puffy eyes when I use them. And that's also the ingredient that can potentially, not always, but potentially cause a darkening of eye color, or like hollowness in the eye region overall. That's just one of the risks. It doesn't mean it's gonna happen to everybody, but it could. So I always look for lash serums without prostaglandins, and this has just been the one I always come back to because it works just as well. And I do see a difference within like a week of using it. It's so wild, and it's also so annoying because I'm like, it's another step to do, but it actually does work. And I notice it like in my mascara application and stuff. So if you have sparse lashes, but also if you want longer lashes, it's a really, really good option. Back to the world of luxury, I have a new perfume that has really, really surprised me. So YSL has a perfume, it's called Lavalier, and it has accord, fig, and rose. And this is so not, like on paper, it's so not my kind of perfume because it is floral and it's rose based, and I'm very, very picky about rose scents. However, this has notes of fig, and I love all things fig. I love Diasendurga Debaser, I love Diptyque Philosophos, I love Fleur Father Figure. Those are all different kinds of figs, and this is by far the most florally fig in my collection. And it's funny because I had this for a while and I wasn't using it. They sent it to me, I think last year, and this launched in 2022. But something about the turn of the new year and wanting some fresh energy and wanting something light and a little bit maybe more feminine and girly, even though this is quite a unisex scent, the floral is something I just associate with girliness. It's not usually my vibe, but it's different. It's not just regular girly. But this has notes of creamy fig, sparkling blackcurrant, radiant rose with a green floral twist, which I would agree with. It's not a sweet floral, and it's not powdery. It has the freshness of that green note, but then it has the creamy dry down with the fig. Because it's so light and fresh, I think it's really daytime appropriate. It's not something you have to worry about in terms of over projection. It's not super, super strong. But it just smells clean. It smells clean and fresh, and it has that creaminess of the fig as well. So it's really surprised me. The bottle is huge. I don't even know. It's 4.2 ounces. I guess it's a lot of glass, but it's still a big bottle of perfume. But I've really been liking it. So if you like fig notes, but maybe you want something, it's like fig with a twist, I would say try this out. Time to get into the makeup. It has been a big month for makeup. I mean, I feel like January, we're always seeing new releases in terms of like the annual timeline of makeup because brands put out all of their holiday kits and their gift sets and all of that. And then as soon as January rolls around, we're starting to see new launches going into the new year. So I did try a lot of new things, liked a lot of new things. Some things were just okay. I'll get into that. This launch has been an absolute smashing hit as far as I'm concerned. This is the new Fenty Beauty We're Even Hydrating Concealer. My best shade match, I've realized, I do have a dedicated review of this. My best shade match is 225N. I also did try 210 Warm and 195 Warm in that video if you're curious to see, and I'll link that below. It's a hydrating concealer that is stretchy but long lasting at the same time, and they somehow were able to make all of those things true. Usually long wear concealers mean they're really drying over time, but that's not the case with this one. It's somehow really stretchy, it's thin, a little bit goes a long way without losing coverage, and I've actually been reaching for this on a lot of days where I'm not going for a full face of like foundation. I just want a little bit of concealer, spot conceal around the eyes, boom, 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 that's it. But it also plays nicely with every foundation that I use on a regular basis. I think I've used this with the Surratt Dewdrop. I've used this with the M Cosmetics Cushion Foundation. I've used this with the CL Skin Tint. That's what I'm wearing today. These two. And it's just a great, I don't know, plays well with everybody sort of concealer. And of course, it's Fenty. I think there are 40 or 50 shades. The undertones are great. Right now, this is like in the running to become one of my top favorite concealers of all time. I just reach for it all the time, if you can't tell. Someone did ask me in the comments of that video what I would compare this to, or if it would knock out my 2023 Best of Beauty. And I actually think this is quite comparable to the Armani Power Fabric Concealer, the original version that used to be my holy grail. But this one is even more hydrating, but they both are thin and have a lot of stretch, and a little, like one dot really will take you very, very far, which is what I look for in a concealer personally. So yeah, can't say enough good things about this. Let's just do a quick little lip retouch. This is the Surratt Lip Slick in Paramour. I just posted my full Surratt brand review, so you can see me talk about that. Not new, but it is an old favorite. This was a big month for eyeshadow for me. It's funny because I feel like in my Best of Beauty in 2023, I was like, I'm just like not really into eyeshadows. I'm just like looking for more natural looks, like blushes, whatever. And then boom, I got hit with 2 new eyeshadow formulas that I really, really love. What's on my eyes today is the Make Beauty multi-chromatic eyeshadow in the shade Stardust. And that's their incredible like emerald green shade. I'm just wearing some bronzer and only that as like a winged liner. It's amazing. These are really, really high pigment. They're super shiny and they blend out like a dream. I do have 3 favorite shades of the 6 they sent me. I did do a dedicated review on these 2 if you want to see me use all of them. My favorite by far is Quartz because it's the most interesting and the most dimensional, I think, as an eyeshadow and as a shade. So it has like a silver reflect, but it also has this taupey undertone, but there's also a bit of like pink in the taupey undertone. You can see in the way it blends out. It's absolutely stunning, and it's been like a go-to one and done eyeshadow for me since I received it. Here's Stardust. I mean, just incredible. The vibrancy of the green like doesn't disappear on the eyes, which can happen oftentimes with like a smoky emerald green. And I've also been loving the shade Glaze. I'm so sorry. I think in that video, I kept confusing Glaze with Gleam because they do have a shade in this range called Gleam, and it is a rose gold. This is Glaze, and it's a champagne. It's like a true champagne. So my apologies for that, but like, can you even deal with that? It's so bright and truly like beaming, so reflective. This one's also a great like one and done shadow if you want something a little bit brighter on the lid. The other shades are beautiful too. They're just not shades I'm going to reach for as much. So those are the 3 I know I'll go for. A light neutral, a smokier neutral, and then like a dramatic pop of color. But I do want to try more of the shades. I might use my own discount code. It's Becca15 for 15% off at Make Beauty because they do have some like bronzy shades that I want to try. We'll see. The other eyeshadow that's been probably my most used shadow of this month is the Rabanne Beauty Duo in All Lights on Me, specifically just this shimmery shade. I did also a dedicated review on Rabanne Beauty this month, but this shade is just so wet looking. It's so gleaming. It's even more beautiful in person. It just has this glossy sheen. It's so pretty. I love it. And it's just so easy to wear. I think that's what I love about it, is that it has this sheer base. So it just twinkles. It looks great in natural light. It looks great in evening light. I wore it out to dinner with a friend just the other night and she was like, "What's on your eyes? I need to know." It's so beautiful. It's even more beautiful in person. The gloss part of this is fun. It's like a fun editorial moment. To be honest, I haven't been reaching for it very much because I have oily eyelids already. But if you are looking for that glossy sheen, you can definitely enhance that with the gloss. I'm not saying you should buy a duo for the one eyeshadow in here that I wear all the time, but I really, really love it. I love the duo format. I love the packaging. It is kind of lightweight, but this is only $22, which is not that different from where the drugstore is these days. And I think the duo is just a perfect format. And I think I will pick up a couple more of these at some point. In terms of the other eyeshadow that I reviewed, the Rabanne, what is this called? Their handbag palette, which I think is such a funny name. Feel My Vibe. I reviewed this. I do think it's really pretty and I like the color story, but the shadows are not as impactful as the glitter in the All Lights on Me duo. Even the sparkle in here is not as dynamic or pigmented or interesting. So it didn't knock my socks off. Just have to mention that because I like it, but I wish they just used the same formula or whatever magic is in that duo in their quad formulas. It's okay. It didn't knock my socks off, but it's pretty. Something I have been doing a lot, especially off camera, is shopping my stash. I think especially since I did that huge declutter, I sort of was able to touch and go through and open all of these products that maybe have just been sitting in my dresser for a little bit. And it's reminded me of things that I love. And one of the things that I've reached for, basically the only bronzer I've reached for this month, is the Chantecaille Real Bronze in Serena. I think this now comes in a different packaging, or they like re-released it in one of their new collections, like their limited edition packaging, but it is the same shade. And this is the most beautiful gel powder. So it's a baked gelée powder. So it's not powdery. It looks really, really skin-like. I have it on today on my cheeks and on my eyes. And it just gives you, it like melts into the skin. It gives you the most natural bronzer look. I mean, it's not natural. I have a lot on. But for how much I have on, it looks like skin texturally. It's just so smoothing, and I can really dig my brush in here. And it's very mistake proof because also it's not powdery and it's not too pigmented. It's super buildable. They do have a deeper shade of this called Goa. I wish they would release more shades of this because the deep shade is not super deep, but it is more red based. But it's such a beautiful formula. It never looks powdery, and I know people with dry skin even who really love this. Last week, or maybe Sunday, I shared my Surratt brand review, and because of that, I've pulled out my Surratt powder products, especially my cheek palette, which I love. I'm wearing this middle shade today, Cherubique, as my blush. You can see I'm not wearing highlighter, actually. I'm just wearing this blush, and it has the most beautiful sheen. It's pearly, it's fresh. It is like a fresh pink. It's about as cool toned as I like to go, but lately I'm into pinks on the cheeks. Usually I go for something more like this, which is Chaleur, which is like a matte bronzy peachy bronze. But yeah, I've been really into this blush. I've been really into using all of these. This is the highlighter in Coup de Genie, which is the only powder highlighter that I reach for these days. But yeah, because of that review, this has been on my vanity and I've just been using it a lot. It gives me the most beautiful blend. And I've also been reaching for the Surratt eyeshadows. These two especially, this is Zibeline and this is Haute Chocolat. I think they're both out of stock on the Surratt website, which I do have a discount code for. It's Becca15. But I think these are in stock at other retailers. I'll let you know. I have better swatches of these in my full brand review, obviously. I'm wearing them in that video, but they're just so dimensional and soft and elegant. They look elegant and they're amazing like bridal sort of makeup shades. But they're also shades I wear just on the day-to-day, and they're easy to wear. And then a couple of lip products. This one really surprised me. In my Rabanne review video, I picked this up. Their Love Balm in Bloody Kiss 068. And I mentioned in that video, I kind of just picked it up, just on a whim. I was like, I want to review more than an eyeshadow. What else should I get? So I put this in my basket and I really love it. The packaging is very chic, says Rabanne, has this like pink frosted end. And this shade is so beautiful, Bloody Kiss. It looks really deep and berry toned on my hand. That's just 2 swipes. But on the lips, because it is actually quite sheer, the natural warmth of my lips really comes through. And it's not warm toned, it's still a cool toned berry, but it's just really, really flattering. I like that it's a thinner consistency. It's not super melty or creamy like those sorts of balms. It's not like the Dior lip glow in that way. But I find it actually has staying power because it is thin and it just creates a really even flush across the lips. It is moisturizing. It's not meant to be a super moisturizing lip balm in that way. But it doesn't have mint in it, which I find to be drying. Like the Dior lip glow I love, but that has mint in it and I find it to be drying over time. There's no fragrance. So it's very inoffensive in that way. And I don't find that it leaves my lips dried out or crusty or anything like that. I know everyone's been talking about these, but I do really like them. They're the Summer Fridays lip oils. I do have a dedicated review. There are 4 shades. One of them is actually in my bag right now, soft mauve. But I really just like the texture of these. It's a very middle of the road texture. It's not sticky, it's not goopy, but it's also not thin and slippy slidey. It's like a non-sticky gloss, basically. But all of the shades are really beautiful. It does have a slight mintiness, which I would prefer it not have, but it is ever so slight, and I find that it fades really quickly. It doesn't tingle, and it's not like a lip plumper by any means. I can't deal with that. But yeah, all of the shades are really easy to wear. I think Pink Cloud is really fun. Like I mentioned, I've been into a fresh pink, like a sheer cool toned pink lately. But all of the shades are great. And I think there's like a nude for every skin tone because these are so sheer. So if I want a peachy nude, I go for Blush Dreams. If I want a more cool toned nude, I'll go for Soft Mauve. And then Rosewood Nights is like a deeper berry nude. I know there are so many lip oils on the market. Everyone calls everything a lip oil now. Like everything that used to be called a lip gloss is just now called a lip oil. So it's not going to like change your life. But if you are looking to try something, if you like those kinds of formulas, I do really like this one. The last makeup item is the M Cosmetics Portrait Mode Setting Powder. It's the one that comes in this amazing compact. I am biased because I love the packaging. It's so cute. I just wish it were refillable. As of now, I don't think it is. So this is a translucent setting powder. It has a slightly pink tone to it. They call it translucent, and I do think it is. And it comes with a really, really thin cushion puff, which I actually do like. But I don't know if I like it more than my other cushion puffs or other means of application. So lately I have been using this as an all-over setting powder in lieu of my loose powders. Generally, I like to set with loose powder and then touch up with pressed powder. And this I've actually been using to set down the makeup. I will say what I like about it is it's very, very thin. It's a hard pressed powder. It doesn't pick up a lot of product, but it still gives me mattification. It's not the most blurring of powders. So it's not like a creamy powder that's going to fill in your pores and make your skin look poreless. It's not that sort of product. But the thin nature of it actually does make it really good for touch-ups, because with cakey powders, especially really dense powders, I don't like those for touch-ups because I can't use it throughout the day. And as someone with oily skin, I want something that I can use to touch up as needed without adding on a ton of product. So I think moving into the warmer months, that's probably how I will use it as a touch-up powder, because it works for me for setting for now, but we're in winter and I have oily skin, and I can see by summer that this maybe won't have enough heavy dutiness to lock me in all day as an oily skin person. But I do really like it for touch-ups because it mattifies and because it doesn't add a lot of product to the face. And then to close out, I have a little vintage haul because I've been getting really, really into like antiquing. And I have a couple of YouTube channels that I've been watching that are sort of related to that. So I've been on a little bit of a journey myself, personally and behind the scenes, around thinking about, environmental impact, especially on my fashion journey. Last year, I quit fast fashion altogether. I am working on some content around that, but I haven't shared yet because I want to come from a more like thoughtful and educated position. And for me, I'm just like learning about all of this myself. And as a symptom of that, I guess, I've gotten into antiques a lot. I've been like consuming a lot of like content by antique collectors, learning a lot about different, aesthetic movements with homewares and different eras and movements and like glass blowing and stuff. I don't know. I've just been like consumed by it. I think part of it is that I feel the numbing effect of mass consumption and mass production. Like the things we buy, everyday things and homewares, are all mass produced for the most part these days if you're shopping in any sort of like department store or whatever, even just like Target. And it totally numbs you and alienates you from the thing itself. And part of the joy that I have found in antiquing, even in just being around old things, has been around the craft and the craftsmanship and the beauty of everyday objects. Even things like, kitchen tools or a copper pot or old tools like a hammer. I know this sounds very grandma of me, but like things used to be made to last and they used to be made with care. And I think I want to adopt more of that approach into my own life with the things that are around me, like in my home, with my clothing, as much as I can. And I think it's a process that's just brought me a lot of joy. It's really fired off like my creative nerves, both visually, artistically, but also I guess philosophically and theoretically as well, just thinking about our relationship to things. Wow, I'm really going on a whole tangent. That's where my brain is right now. Let me show you what I've picked up. I haven't made any like huge purchases. One of the things I've really gotten into is depression glass. So this is usually colorful glass that was made around the Depression era. And I got these candlestick holders. They're pink glass. I'm being very careful about them. Let me take the candlestick out, actually. So it looks like this, and they're the most beautiful pink glass, and they look like almost like a jellyfish. They have these like ridged edges, and it's called Depression glass because it was actually mass produced. So it's pressed glass that was mass produced around the Depression. A lot of these glass items I since have learned were included in like cereal boxes or as like gift with purchases to help stimulate the economy and just as a little like pick me up in the Depression or post-Depression era. And some of this Depression glass is actually made with uranium, like very, very small amounts of uranium. I don't think this is uranium glass. If it's green glass from that era, like a lot of those colors have uranium in them, and you can see it with a black light. I actually ordered a black light because I can see myself going down this like rabbit hole. But anyway, I think I got these for, I don't know, like $18 or something. They're so beautiful. And yeah, I think these are gonna go on my dinner table during dinner parties, and they've just brought me a lot of joy. Like, how can you not be happy looking at this pink glass? I love it. Also, I'm realizing I have a sheer pink blush, a sheer pink lip. I think I'm just into sheer pink right now, like as a concept. I also have a couple of things in frames. This one, Sean actually picked out for me and was like, I think you need her. So it's a print actually of a lady smoking a cigar, and it has this like gold embossing on it. I love her. And it's in this beautiful frame. I don't think this is actually that old, but it does say happy birthday, March 24th, 1980. So I think it's meant to look old. It does have this like linen around it. I think it's meant to look old, or it's like a print of an older item that's been remounted, probably not that long ago. I love her attitude, her essence, and I love that she's smoking a cigar. And then I picked up this beautiful like framed mirror. This one I think is older because it has quite a thick frame. And it also does have these beautiful like hand painted flowers up here. So I think it's an old frame that's been repainted and given a new life. But that probably still also happened like a few decades ago because it does have a lot of signs of wear. So yeah, I think I'm gonna mount those somewhere in the house. I think I wanna get another piece to make it a bit of like a trio, a little clustering. But those are the old things that I've been loving, and it's just brought me a lot of joy. And honestly, wood frames are expensive. If you get anything framed nowadays, it's like hundreds of dollars for that whole process. And I've really enjoyed digging into old frames. I love the character that they have, and just the spirit of being around things that have a lot of history. So maybe if you're into that, I'll share more of what I find. I've also found a lot of really cool like old beauty items, old perfume bottles, old cut crystal powder boxes. Yeah, I'm like, ooh, should I start collecting those? But that's like a dangerous path to go down. So that's just what I'm into right now. As for the content I've been consuming about antiquing, this was such a random find, but I came across this video about collecting antique glassware, and it's by a creator called Rajiv Surendra. And maybe you guys have heard of his channel already if you're into like homewares and that sort of thing. But I didn't realize until maybe like a week after following him that he played Kevin of the Mathletes in the original movie Mean Girls. And I was like, oh, that's why he has such a familiar voice and such a familiar presence, but he creates these really cozy videos about his antique collections and decor and interior design, and he just has this really calming presence, but he's also very knowledgeable about the history of homewares, the history of like antiques and things like that. So I've been really enjoying his content. And then the YouTube algorithm fed me these videos from House and Garden. Originally, I was like, oh, it's Better Homes and Gardens, but no, it's a separate publication. It's a UK-based magazine. They have this playlist called Design Notes in which they go into the homes of different interior designers. And a lot of them are, well, they're all like UK, British, like cottages, but there's also like London flats. It's all very chic and like British. But a lot of the homes are filled with antiques, and the designers themselves talk about their design process in their own homes, unique items they've collected or acquired over the years, and just their aesthetic sensibilities. It's a lot of like British cottage core Victorian, Georgian sort of homes. It's a way of life that's so foreign to me, but it has transported me to like a different place. And I really like the way, like I like listening to designers talk about their design approaches in a really grounded, material, tactile sort of way. And of course the videos are like beautifully produced. So if that's up your alley, I think you'll enjoy it. I watched like 6 in a row the first time I came across them because it was so calming and almost meditative. Okay, I've talked your ear off. This suddenly turned into a really long video. I guess I just had a lot to say, but I hope you guys enjoyed, and I would really love to hear your January favorites, what got you through the slog of the January blues. I think all things considered, despite January being what it is, I've kept myself busy, and I feel energized by creative work and the work I'm doing here and in other spaces right now. So I hope that comes through, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.